Hey. Welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. Well, actually, it's not my podcast here. It is actually another segment I call Did You Know Stuff. And today I am actually going to talk about the legacy of Tommy Smith and John Carlos, who ran in the 1968 Summer Olympics in Mexico City. And I'm trying to honor those gentlemen and keep their legacy going. Um, so that's what we're going to do today. And as I start off, I say, did you know Charlie Perry is on Fireside? Did you know the Really Charlie podcast is on Fireside? Did you not know is the question. This did you not know stuff is basically brought to you to just bring up things, that you may have not known about. And I just basically want to just share the facts, and that's all they are facts. Nothing fake or foolish on this show whatsoever. I just basically love throwing out different things. In my old bucket list, I wanted to be a history teacher, and let's just say they didn't pay a lot of money. So, but all right. So we're gonna talk about these famous Olympians, you know, and they went through a lot. They definitely went through many things. The two of them, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, just were trying to make a stand. And they, let's see, they were, you know, Tommy was from San Jose State University in California, and AKA they called it Speed City. So many of their athletes were Olympians and winning events during the late 60s. They were just dominating track and field. So, anyways, all right, I have some facts from history.com. And this was by Louis Cinco of the Los Angeles Times. It said, wearing beads and scarves to oppose lynching and black socks with no shoes to highlight poverty. African American sprinters Tommy Smith and John Carlos took to the podium during the October 16, 1968 Olympic medal ceremony in Mexico City to receive their respective gold and bronze medals in the 200-meter race. But it was a single accessory, a black glove, an accompanying gesture, a raised fist during the American national anthem that sparked an uproar. From that moment, the two athletes would be vilified, threatened, in some circles celebrated. Using the Olympic medal ceremony to show solidarity with oppressed black people worldwide impacted both the professional and personal lives of Smith and Carlos for years. Afterwards, widely deemed a Black Power salute, the men's gesture at the podium was by no means a random act. Instead, historians say it was a direct outgrowth of political climate in the late 1960s. It caused riots. There was riots at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, where both Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and U.S. Senate Robert F. Kennedy were assassinated in 1968. So it was just many things that were going on. Civil unrest spurred into King's killing. Racial injustice spread throughout multiple cities. There was Vietnam protest on and off college campuses, also spread nationally. the violence police unleashed on these protesters, notably in the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. So there was many, many things going on. So many things. And that time was those people, those Americans, black and white, were just basically standing up, and the ones that were standing out and being part of the outcry, the one thing I love about it is they were doing things that others didn't want to do. And they were a necessity. When you kind of think of it, it's very, very important what happened. Even though there was loss of lives, there was chaos and depleted resources when it came to the different uprisings. There was people that were getting, criminal records or criminal sentences, being incarcerated for all the things that they were involved in. And they suffered from it for many, many years until this day, only because of what they'd done. I always say I would thank the 1960s for what they have done for me. I'm a 1966 baby, and there's no way I would. I am so proud and honored to be born when I was born. I was able to see a taste of the old and a taste of the new, which just made me the person I am, So, but these gentlemen went through so much, and as I mentioned, these two Americans, there was a third Australian, Peter Norman, also known as the white guy in the picture. As they stood up in that podium, Peter Norman very proudly stood with them. He definitely wanted to do it. He wanted to be a part of it. And it actually impacted his life also. It really did. When he returned back to Australia, he was getting blackballed and persecuted and really went through a whole lot. Peter Norman stood his stance. He fought the fight until the day he died. But before he died, he tried out for the Australian team. I think the figures are 13 times, and he qualified to make the team. But the Australian officials didn't allow him on the team. Until this day, his record is still there, still an Australian record for the fastest time in the 200 meters. Still there. This young man ran his butt off. It's just amazing. Fastest time ever in Australia. So they really, they actually, just like they have a statue of Tommy Smith and John Carlos at San Jose State University, they have a statue of Peter Norman, which is actually in Melbourne, Australia. And it stands with him with his Olympic medal. But the country let him down, really, most of his life. And he didn't get honor until later on in his life. I believe his son was a huge part of that. And when he died, 2 pallbearers showed up. And that was Tommy Smith and John Carlos. And they carried their friend to his last resting spot. Many folks don't know that, but Peter Norman, it was another gentleman, a great humanitarian, all 3 of them gentlemen. So San Jose State had actually, they're having an event today. I wish I could have got some video footage of it. I'm trying to get used to Fireside. The other platforms I use, I'm so used to doing it that way, getting on a stream and basically talking and chit chatting with people. So, anyways, well, it is 7:11, just like the store. Nice to see you, Woody. I'm glad to see you. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is just basically try to look for some more facts about this. And feel free if you're on the replay and definitely want to talk more about this subject with me. Just get in touch with me and I would gladly talk to you. I do have my podcast, which I'm going to actually step it up when it comes to this subject. And we're going to do it again with a couple of guests and really set the tone. People that were actually involved and maybe like to get one of these gentlemen on the podcast so you can talk to them and hear from their own mouths what's going on. But we're working on it. We're working on it. Never say never. Always reach out. When it comes to guesting people, I don't know if I could display this, but there's that infamous picture. It's great. So, and when you look at it, man, it's all three of them, man. They just, boom, they're ready, They were determined and crazy. And Peter Norman, just that dude, man, just he got like a whirlwind on his side. It's like boom, I'm gonna do it. And he did it. He was very proud of it. And back then in Australia, they had their own apartheid, and going through their struggles there. So he definitely was a man familiar with racial inequalities, and but he stood his ground, man. It's awesome. Um, Great story, and I just don't want to forget about it, and I don't want you guys to forget about it. And if you're a little, if this wasn't enough information for you, just Google all the history. Tommy Smith, John Carlos, and Peter Norman. Just put that in Google. It just is so much facts, videos, a lot of footage, and the university is definitely honoring their legacy. They have the statue there on campus, and they basically honor it and talk about it. So, but all right, everyone. Well, 7:14, and Did You Know Stuff by Charlie Perry. It's coming to you every Thursday. I'm going to try to do something for you, some fact finding. I'm going to continue to support my other fire starters out there in all your shows. As I'm on this show, the invites just flash, boom, 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 one after another. It's crazy. So everybody's being creative on Fireside. We're definitely doing our part to make this a great platform, or make it greater, because it already is great. So, and this little rookie here, where I'm going to try to get better so I can continue to bring you great stuff on Fireside. All right, everyone. Thank you. It looks like the audience is down to a bare minimum. So hopefully you guys will get on the replay and check this out. And I'm going to be back on with another podcast on Anchor and Spotify and Facebook. And I'm going to really kind of light it up and get your comments on this subject. Trying to set it up so I can get this going real quick within this month. All right, everyone. Thank you. God bless. Have a great day.